Starting off with the rear wheel brakes, changing the brake disc and brake pads. We're not gonna do the brake shoes in this video because they are a totally separate thing. Mine are not worn, so it's not needed to have them changed. 17mm socket. $7mm hex wrenches, a 10mm ratchet, this is the bottom slide pin, top slide pin. The wear sensor comes out like this. The wear sensor bracket is an E11. Now this is the inner brake pad. And for reasons of avoiding getting the caliper staying or hanging from the brake hose, here's some sort of use something to hang it. You get a point. Just undo it. Don't completely untighten it. Undo the 18mm bolts which hold the bracket, the caliper carrier. Okay, I've had 2 hours or 3 hours setback. The brake caliper carrier, all the bolts and the holes for the carrier themselves were a mess due to the thread locker. I've managed to clean them. I've bought a couple of metal brushes, 15mm and 22mm. I've knackered 3 of these just to clean very well the holes, and now it's time to put everything back where it belongs. Also, I wire brushed the entire flange because it was full of rust and stuff. The next step is to clean the brake disc. I'll do that off camera because you basically use brake cleaner and well, clean it very well on both sides. Don't forget that the rear brake shoe will have the surface on which the brake shoes rub against the brake disc. Well, the brake disc needs to be cleaned also very well inside. So yep, I'll do that off camera and show you exactly the reassembly process. Brake disc is cleaned. Bit of thread locker. And in you go, hand tighten, that's it. Then we proceed with cleaning this surface, and then we reinstall everything back together. I have one bolt installed just for folding purposes. Now I've cleaned up the bolts best as I could and apply a bit of thread locker, not much but just a little bit. This is a red one and that's strong. Do the same for the other bolt. If you use this kind of red thread locker, it's best if you put it on a radiator to keep it warm, otherwise it would be very smudgy and it won't be very friendly to squeeze out of the bottle. Normally you torque these two bolts at 150 Newton meters. I've cleaned the slide pins really well. They are clean. Now what I have to do is apply some lubricant on the slide areas for the brake pads. What I'm using is ATE Plastilube. This is meant for brake discs, slide pins, brake pads, slide rails, and fit the new brake pad inside the caliper. Okay, the other one will fit right here. Put some grease over here. Make sure it slides easily. Do the same for the inner one. In order to prepare the slide pins, I'll take the long 7mm. This is how a slide pin looks like, a prepared one. Thread locker and grease at the Plastilube or one more, the Ceratec from Techstar. They both work great. I think they are one and the same thing in the end. And tighten it and put the cap back on. Use the small 7mm bit, hex bit. Again, this is how prepared slide pin should look like, greased and a bit of thread locker. Just a bit of thread locker. Tight it with ease because you'll end up breaking the support over here, so that's just enough. The next thing to do is put back the wheel on and rinse and repeat for the other side as well. Set the torque wrench to 130 Newton meters. Then right after using the torque wrench, be sure to release the tension on it, put it back to 0.